Hola, mijos. Unfortunately, guys, I have been terrible. I posted that I was going to post every day, and then I wasn't doing it. Reason why, I've been struggling with what I'm meant to do with myself and the whole thing like that. And I've been really weak-minded, and I've stopped doing hard things, right? And my life has been significantly worse. So just a bit of background. Beforehand, I was bodybuilding, and I was training hard like every day. I was a beast in the gym, and I would work from 5 a.m. till 2 p.m. I would train from 3 to 4, and then from 4 to about 6 I would do my client work. I was PTing as well at the time. So I was PTing, I was working in a cafe, and I was bodybuilding. And I was so busy, and I felt happy then because I was being productive, and I guess I wasn't facing the question of the quietness in your head. And the quietness in your head is good. I don't think it's a bad thing. But you do have to understand that if you go without doing hard things, you lose purpose, and it's really important to keep doing hard things, right? So anyway, I have been an absolute bitch, and I haven't been doing anything hard. But I did start running recently, like I don't know, three weeks ago, and I took a break last week, but this week I started back up again, and then I started reading this book, Atomic Habits. Ka-chow. And dude, this book is insane. Like, there is so much knowledge in here. Like, you could read this probably like 10 times and you still wouldn't fully get everything out of this book. This book is, I've never read a book probably like with this much good information in it. There is so much to uncover. But some things that I did want to touch on, and I thought like maybe, if you guys haven't read the book, here's something that you guys can learn from it. And the things that I want to try and apply to myself. Now, I'm going to rattle some things off my head, but I've made some like highlights. But the main things that I was going to say that I learned like a shit ton from was that at the start of the book, it talks about like a successful habit and how it works. And to have a successful habit, you have like three things that you need to be doing, right? So you have a habit that you currently partake in, and then you have a habit that you need to do, and then you have a habit afterwards that you want to do. So a really good example of this was I was looking back at my old gym days and how I performed well in the gym and what worked well for me. And what worked well for me was this. So my system would work like this. It'd be like, number one, the first thing is that my thing that I would always do is I'd always eat a pre-workout meal because I love food, right? So if I eat a pre-workout meal, then after that, what flows is the need to action. So I have my current habit, eating, and then my need to would be training. So then I'd go to the gym, I would train, and then my want to action afterwards would be to have a bowl of cereal because I'd love to have a bowl of cereal, and it's like something a bit naughty. So by doing that, I've put three things all into one, and I've made progress, right? I've ate the meal that I wanted to have, so something that I was going to do regardless, and then I trained, which is something I needed to do to get to where I wanted to go at the time, which is a professional bodybuilder. And then after that, I had a bowl of cereal because it was good macros, but also it was a want, and I looked forward to it. So if I didn't train, I wouldn't look forward to the meal because I wouldn't be able to have it, right? So by training, I would make myself go to the gym and get that done. So that's just an important thing to point out, which I thought was really cool and a bit of knowledge for you guys. The consequences of bad habits are delayed while the rewards are immediate. The immediate outcome is unenjoyable, but the ultimate outcome feels good. So in other words, what he's saying is that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the later consequences are disastrous, and vice versa. Which, if you want a simpler version, the way I think of it is, if something feels overwhelmingly good, like eating food or having sugar or watching porn or doing something like that, it's most likely going to lead to something bad. But if you do something that feels bad, so like running, something that feels hard, right? It feels challenging, but not morally bad, right? It feels like a challenge, that will lead to something good down the line. So whether it's saving money or it's, working or something like that, like it's going to suck for the meantime, but where it leads to you in the future, you'll be better off, right? And you will have more fun in the future with what you did, and you'll be more proud of yourself with what you did, right? So that was an interesting one. Oh yeah, this is a really good one. I can't even remember where this probably hit. Cool. The other one was you don't realize how valuable it is to just show up on your bad days. Lost days will hurt you more than your successful days help you. If you start with $100, then you have a 50% gain. That will take you to $150. But you only need a 33% loss to take you back to $100. So in other words, avoiding a 33% loss is just as valuable as achieving a 50% gain. The worst thing you can do is do nothing, is what it's trying to say here. So do something. It doesn't have to be a perfect workout, but get in the gym, go do something. Like if you're going to go for a run, there's this other thing it talks about, which I didn't highlight, but it's the 2-minute rule. And I want to try this out, but just tell yourself you're going to go do 2 minutes and genuinely just do 2 minutes. If you do the 2 minutes, then you can stop. But just get yourself into that, and for a week, do 2 minutes, and the next week, do 5 minutes, after that 15, etc., etc. But the habit is to just start building up the evidence that you are the type of person that follows through with what you say. Yes, so this was a really good one as well. So this is called the Socrates paradox. So if you were given, one coin, would that make you rich? Probably not. So if you give a person a pile of 10 coins, you wouldn't claim that as rich either, would you? So what if you add another and another and another? At some point, you'll have to admit that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him or her so. Basically, that part is what it's saying is, at some point there is $1. If you start at $1 and you go, what about $2? Am I rich now? And you say no. What about $3? Am I rich now? No. What about $4? Am I rich now? No. If you keep going all the way up, there is never an ending limit, because it's going up by $1 each time, and it doesn't sound like a lot. Even if you count all that to $1 million, you still wouldn't say that's rich, because again, it's just adding one onto it. So it's a really interesting part there. So anyway, let me continue. Then at some point you'll have to admit that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him or her so. And it is the same thing with habits. Can one tiny change transform your life? Probably not. But what if you made another and another and another? And at some point you'll have to admit that your life was transformed by one small change. And it's the exact same thing with habits, right? If you do something over and over again, it's not like it's that one thing that changes your life. But if you go to the gym, if you train, if you eat healthy, you're going to make better decisions. It's going to lead you to more and more. It's a whole graph that goes like this, right? Yeah, but it's going to go like this. It's just a massive tree diagram where it keeps splitting off into more and more trees, and you get this massive array of things that you can't even explain. But if you keep making better decisions for the future self, then you're going to have a better future for yourself to live. And I think that's a really interesting point. Like, if you have a life that you want to live, which I definitely have a view in my mind of what I want to live, then I've got to start doing things now to start making an impact. And that's why I've got to start doing this more, and YouTubing and shit like this, like to get myself out there, because I want to do this, So that's an interesting one. Continuing on. This is probably like the summary of it all, but the whole process of habits, and the thing that I messed up massively with bodybuilding was that I thought there was an endpoint in a weird way. Like, I wouldn't say that out loud, but in my head, I was thinking that I had reached an endpoint. Like, I reached an endpoint in my head that if I just keep doing the same things day in, day out, I'm going to reach it. I'm going to reach this goal. But it gets harder and harder. And also, things will change. Like, I'm not bodybuilding anymore because I don't want to, because I don't think it's healthy for me. And that's something that I really struggle with, because I put all my eggs in one basket. And it's something that he talks about early in the book as well. And it's the fact that don't tie yourself to one identity, because if you lose it, you lose yourself, right? And I think it's true. The hard part is, though, is that is life. Now, I've realized that now, that I've been so scared of tying myself and letting myself be open to lose something. And I would never say that I was afraid to lose something. I always say that I don't care about losing. Like, I just want to just play the game. That was my identity whenever I played video games. But the truth was that I was just saying that to cope with the fact that I'm scared of always losing something. Whether it's a girl, a friend, something, man. Like, I will always try and hide myself from people to make sure that I don't lose it, because I went through a year in 2022 where I lost quite a bit, and some of them my own fault, some of them that I couldn't even control myself. But I just felt like such a fuck up that I would continuously keep telling myself, don't involve yourself, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, because it's not and this is on a subconscious level, but I would keep telling myself not to attach myself to things, because when you lose it, it sucks. So I just went all in bodybuilding. And then when I stopped bodybuilding, because I thought I'd never stop it, when I stopped it, I was like, holy shit, I'm nothing. And it was really sad. So anyway, enough depressing shit. Another important point that I was just about to touch on there is just don't put yourself all into one avenue. I think you definitely should. I think you should take chances on yourself. But just understand that, like, for example, like if you were someone in the army, right? And you went to serve the army, that's a really tough thing to come back out of, because you've identified yourself as this person that has gone in and defended your country and has, you've had to take people's lives to defend, and that's traumatizing. The best thing in my mind is that if you were there, I think what I would want to do is I'd want to identify as myself and say to myself that, that outside of that, I'm a person that, works well with a group of people. That's what people in the army are really good. They're really good at communicating. I'm a good person at leading. I'm good at taking action, and I love physical fitness and stuff like that. So that is your personality. So same with gym. So now my goal with gym is just to feel healthy, to look good, and to have fun. And if I have that, I can have that to whenever I'm old as shit. But the problem with just saying I'm a bodybuilder is that at some point it's got to end. And at some point you got to disconnect yourself. And when you disconnect yourself, you're going to want to hate yourself because it sucks. So that was another point there. But the line here is the line is that it is a continuous process. There is no finish line, and there is no permanent solution. And you may say, oh, that's obvious, but deep down, there is a part of you that hopes that, you can make a video, or you hope that you can, like for me personally, I'll talk about my own experience. I've always wanted to be able to make a video and say, this is how I turn my life around, and this is how I'm living like this. But the fact is that making a video like that is so risky, because you could lose everything in a day, right? It might not happen, but you could lose everything in a day. So don't ever think that you can't lose, and don't ever think that you're too good not to lose it all, because you're one bad day away from losing everything. And although it sounds depressing, it's the truth. There is no finish line, there is no permanent solution. You just got to keep going. And if you can understand that when you face trials and tribulations, I think you'll be a stronger man to get through it, right? So I think it's like Bruce Lee said, don't pray for easy times. Pray to be a person that can withstand hard times. I'm pretty sure he says something along the lines of that, but it's the fact that you want to be the man that can be stronger and better off. So if the easy happens, whatever. But you want to be the man that if something goes wrong, you know what's going to happen. You're familiar. You're like, cool, this is hard. It's going to be challenging, but I love a challenge. Let's get into it. Let's go. That's kind of like what I want to, be able to do. But yeah, the secret to getting results is that the secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. And that's what I've realized, man, is that I've just got to not stop. And I really have stopped. Like, I've really stopped doing a whole heap with myself, and I've become so torn up in my mind of what to do next. And I've hated it. I've hated every moment of it. And I don't want to feel like this. I genuinely don't like it. The way I want to feel is I want to feel like each day, because this was my life like 6 months ago. I would wake up and I would get after my day, and I want to do the same thing now. I want to be making progress. I want to be becoming the person that I want to be, and that's what it is about. That's what habits are about, man. That's what this book is all about. Atomic Habits. It's all about becoming the person you want to be, and the way you become the person you want to be is through consistently doing shit that reinforces the image of who you are. If you want to be that person that's confident, cool, whatever, you got to do shit that backs that up. For me personally, if I want to feel confident, I'm going to have to get my body in shape. I'm going to have to be able to, be confident in who I am first, and be confident in talking to other people before I can start talking to girls. I just can't skip to that level. It's constantly these little jumps that are challenging and they're not impossible. So this is called the Goldilocks rule. It's about getting things that aren't, just dead. Like there's no enjoyment in it, and you don't want something that's too high in enjoyment. You want something that's like challenging, right? So you want this like bell curve in the middle. So you don't want something that's going to be too challenging, and you don't want something that's too easy. You want something in the middle that is going to be perfect for yourself, just to push yourself there. So whether that's doing a leg press, like if this is the best example for this, right, off my back of my head, is if you're on a leg press, you get to 8 reps, that's pretty easy. You go for 2 more, that's pretty hard. And like, then you go for 12 and you hit 12 here and you're like, fuck, that was hard. But that is the best effort I'm getting in today. That's cool. That is the Goldilocks curve. You grew, you did the most you could. If you did any more, you'd just be debilitating yourself. If you hit those 12 reps, if you did 15 reps and you took like little rests in between and you got to 15, it's probably too much and you're probably going to underperform the rest of your workout. So it's like making sure that you're giving yourself challenges, but not making it too challenging that's going to freak you out. And the next time you go to the gym, you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this because that's scary. So, and this is just me talking about gym because that's my background. But yeah, guys, the biggest thing I think I learned today is the biggest thing I learned today was I used to think to myself like this: I'm not a fucking dog. I'm not going to reward myself for doing well. And I wouldn't look after myself. Like I wouldn't even moisturize. I wouldn't brush I would brush my teeth, right? But I wouldn't look after myself. And recently, my grandma, she bought me like hair, like wash and stuff like that. And now I'm looking after my hair. I'm moisturizing. I'm shaving my face. I'm trying to look after my body again, getting back into the gym. And because that makes me feel better, it makes me feel like a better person. I feel more confident when I feel clean, I feel smooth. I had a bath before, I felt great having a bath, right? And I think it's things like those where you're reinforcing the habits of the person you want to be. That makes you more confident in yourself. And confidence is just you being comfortable with being yourself in public and putting yourself out there. That's my idea of confidence, is just being yourself and doing it regardless of whether you're scared or not. It's just being able to be yourself and get out there and to give it a crack, right? So that's my summary, guys. I don't know if you guys got a lot of information from this, but honestly, the biggest thing that I think I learned from this book, man, is that shit's gonna be hard. You've got to keep going. It's that simple. Shit's hard. Keep going. If it feels like heaven, it's hell. If it feels like hell, it's heaven. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Just create, bro. Peace out.